Hey everyone, I just got back from out of town and had a screw in my tire, so my tire was flat. Well, in the process of patching that screw hole, I broke off one of the wheel studs. So today we're going to be replacing that wheel stud. Let's get started. I've already got the tire off the ground, jacked up here. If you need to know how to do that, that's simple enough. I'm just using the jack that came with the car. I actually don't have any better jack to use for this. Now generally when loosening or tightening these wheel stems, lug nuts, you're going to want to go across the wheel each time to avoid warping that wheel as you go. So that's why you see when people take this stuff apart, they move back and forth across the wheel. Once you get your lug nuts off, that tire should just pop off. Roll that out of the way. That gives you a good look at that stud that broke. Now, this piece has to come off. This is the drum brake housing here that we got to take off. So what I'm going to do is just try to kind of tap it with the hammer. Just try to pry it apart. It's not held on with anything. There's nothing, no screws that are holding that on, but it has to be broken loose because it's been on there for, forever. Alright, so as some of you are no doubt yelling at your computer or TV or wherever you're watching this, one important piece of information that you're going to need is to make sure your brakes are off. Make sure you don't have your emergency brake on or anything like that, because your emergency brake is going to push against this drum and keep it from coming off. So make sure your brake is off when you're doing this procedure here. Alright, well, that was a pain, but I finally broke it free. So just gotta pry it the rest of the way off here. Work around the edges. Now, they should come off a lot easier than that, but when you haven't taken them off in a very long time, that's what you end up with. Now, I would imagine I probably need to get new brakes on this car. Imagine some of y'all, if you're mechanics, you're looking at this and cringing. Of course, I probably cringe at all my videos, so that's all right. But anyway, now we got to get this stud. We got to drive it out the back side of this piece here. So it's just tension fit in there, pressed in there. So basically, I just need a hammer and something that will fit on the end of that, and just hammer it straight through the back of this piece here. I'm just going to use this ease out. It's about the right size to hit that. There you go. Here's the broken stud. Now we just got to get the new one. It's here. And you just got to find a place in this back within the brakes that gives you enough room to get that stuck in there. Then you just got to tighten it down. So I'm going to use a lug nut here. So I could just put the lug nut on and tighten it down, but the part that is pressed into place here is going to stick out a little bit past the surface. So I'm going to use this to slide over, and then my nut can actually press against that handle, and that's going to give us a little more clearance and allow us to tighten that and fully press it into place. Get it started. Start pulling it in. You may have to kind of hold this with something else while you do it, because it's going to want to spin on you. So I think that's going to get me to where I can go ahead and take it back off and get my tire installed. And there we go. That's got your new stud in place, and we can get our tire back on there, and that should be all we need. So get this back in place here. Just like that. And the tire and everything holds that in place, so there's no fasteners or anything that you need at this point. Get your tire back on. Like so. Get your lug nuts back on. And since I threw one under the car earlier, I'm gonna have to go get that one. Alright, and that's all there is to it. I've got to get my hubcap back on. Obviously I've got to get my other lug nut on and tighten everything down. But that's really all there is to replacing a wheel stud. Getting that, especially on a drum brake, getting that drum off is the hardest part. It is a lot easier when you take the brake off of the emergency brake off, but it's still going to be the hardest part of this entire operation. So if you try it out, let me know in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and like this video if it helped you out. Have a good one. Appreciate you tuning in. Till next time.